Welcome back to CEO Money. My name is Mervyn Price.
I'm Michael Yorba.
And our guest today is Kory McMullen from Brightside LED, courtesy of Jeff Roberts, who introduced him to us. We've learned a little bit about Brightside LED. Kory, I want to focus still on the Brightside customers. You mentioned industrial, and I know that there's other institutions, but 44 hours a week in industrial. What about retail chains where they're on 24 hours? Have you targeted that market?
Yes, we've actually done a broad range. We've done retail customers. We've worked in the medical hospital space, hotels. We do quite a few auto dealerships. So we've done office buildings, just a broad range. If their lights are on 44 hours a week, they will qualify inside our program.
Tell us more about your recent press release for those in the audience who haven't read it. And it's about your expansion. Go into that and describe it to them, please. We've been working for years to structure and put this model together, and we alpha and beta tested it in the fall of 2016, and so we were a regional company in the Southeast at that point in time, and we actually shut the company down for about 3 to 4 months when we realized what we had discovered, and structured internally. Brought in some high-level CFO that's previously been with a Fortune 50 company, high-level COO who spent 26 years at one of the world's largest chemical manufacturers, and restructured the inside of the company on our way out so that we could handle the growth. And so we've really just started expanding pretty rapidly since March of 2017. We are now operating and have salespeople in a little more than 20 states, and have also started establishing contractor networks that actually work with us from a distribution side and a materials side in about 40 states. So just very, very rapid growth. We've been expanding and continue to expand with plans on expanding into Canada in 2018. Congratulations. The business models you have is obviously excellent in the financing area. It's excellent in a number of other areas. The service area, you've got to have good service to be able to have that many customers. But you've also got to have good technology. Is there any variance in your technology that makes it superior to your competitors?
Absolutely. There is a lot of misconceptions about LED out there, and I know when LED was introduced in the U.S. market, there was just a lot of inferior product that was injected into the market space, and that's pretty typical with any industry when they're just kind of launching. But the technologies of LED, the majority of the inferior products have really been depreciated at a pretty rapid rate. We work with about 14 manufacturers and represent them, many of them being U.S. manufacturers. So we do use the majority of our products in most cases. We're working with U.S. manufacturers and trying to keep those jobs in the U.S. and keep those dollars in the U.S. But one thing that really separates us is we've recently introduced an energy management system that, in addition to the LED lighting, will save our customers on average about 20% off their entire utility bill. And it allows them to log in through a web portal and actually monitor their savings. And we can monitor all of their energy consumption on any piece of equipment inside the facility on live time. So we can go through and look at exactly what they're saving on their lighting. We can save them tremendous amounts of money by managing their peak demands, by managing those peaks and bringing those peaks down. You can't manage something if you can't measure it. And so we now have the ability to manage their entire energy consumption inside the building envelope and structure a program to actually reduce their consumption on a regular basis and identify where the inconsistencies or the inefficiencies are.
Kory, so when you retrofit a factory or 200,000 square feet.
Wait, let me jump in there for a second. Kory, you mentioned something that before we get into the retrofit, I want to drive this point home. 60 to 70% energy savings after the conversion, and you just added 20% savings onto that. So are you telling me and the rest of the people listening to this interview that we're looking at 80 to 90% savings once they start working with you on the conversion here?
Well, on the LED side, it's 60 to 70% of their lighting costs.
Right.
So typically that's 30 to 40% of their total utility consumption.
And then you said 20%.
Their actual utility bill.
Right.
So we can reduce that by about 70%. So we can save them 20 to 30% off their total utility bill by just converting them over to LED. But through our energy management technologies with our monitoring systems, we can save them another 20% off their bill. So we can essentially reduce up to or even more than 50% of their entire utility cost of their electric bill every single month.
A publicly traded company with that kind of bump to their bottom line major cost, of their energy costs, can you imagine what that does to the...
Yeah, absolutely. And we're working with a couple of publicly traded companies right now that have basically said, look, in the past, we've tried to approach these companies and they've said, look, we can't do this. We don't have the CapEx dollars to do this. We've reapproached those companies and they're very excited about this program. So absolutely, we've been really able to penetrate that market space.
Kory, I'm going to move into something else now as we're approaching out of time. What would you do if you received extra capital? And the reason I ask this is when you're buying the LEDs, installing them, paying the service people, and doing it all up front, that's capital intensive for your company. Tell us about your financial investment profile.
Absolutely. So, obviously with the growth levels that we've had, we've been seeking additional internal capital. From the standpoint of funding the projects, we have some private funds that we work with that fund the projects for the customer. So essentially they'll pay for our investment into the project. But internally, it has been a challenge. So we've been working with different groups and, but when you're experiencing 600-700% growth and going from $3-4 million to $20 million a year in sales overnight, obviously there's some serious cash flow problems. So yes, we absolutely have been looking for additional investments or investors and opportunities to present to them. So, we're expecting and forecasting to exceed $50 million by 2019. So, we're going to have to continue to have those meetings and continue to look at those opportunities as we continue to forecast for growth.
We have about 2 minutes left, and I want to get a couple of questions in before we have to close. What would you do, the use of funds for with additional investment in your company?
Well, essentially, it just allows us to continue to expand. It allows us to bring on additional sales representatives. It allows us to increase our marketing levels, and it allows us to help cash flow some of the gaps. So. That essentially, it would primarily be invested into sales and marketing side of the business and a small portion of it on the operational side.
What kind of investment you're looking for?
Anywhere from $2 to $4 million at this point. We've been kind of piecemealing that together in $250,000 and $500,000 increments. And, we have some very solid partners. But we also know that we have to keep all options open and look for opportunities. So things can change at any moment.
Okay, we've got about a minute left. How are you getting the message out currently? How do people find out about you?
So we've been doing a lot of marketing through networks. Actually, Jeff Roberts has been a great part of our team and helping us network. We've been specifically using a lot of references from previous clients, and it kind of snowballs in a marketplace. We perform a couple projects for a client, and the next thing you know, it just starts to snowball out. We typically put sales representatives in place that we generate leads for, and they also are doing cold calling. Like I said, we're in about 20 states right now with sales reps on the ground. So, we have a lot of social media things that are getting ready to launch, and a lot of SEO type stuff from the internet base that is getting ready to launch. So we've got a lot of really exciting marketing aspects that are going to be revealed in the very near future.
Kory, basically, quickly, how would our listeners and potential investors get a hold of you and get to know about Brightside? You've got 30 seconds.
15.
Absolutely. They can go to brightsideled.com, or they can always contact us at our corporate office at 850-332-4443.
Kory, thanks for being a guest on our show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. Kory McMullen, CEO, BrightSideLED.com. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba.
I'm Mervyn Price.
All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Nick Fairless, owner, Door Devil.